Can't Hurt Me, Master Your Mind and Defy the Odds is a book by David Goggins. An American ultra-marathon runner, ultra-distance cyclist, triathlete, public speaker, retired Navy SEAL member, and author, this book is his autobiography. Describing the early days of his life filled with abuse and discrimination, up until his numerous achievements in the Army and sports. Can't Hurt Me was published in 2018 and was 7 years in the making. It follows David's life from his hard and trauma-filled childhood all the way to his becoming one of the world's best endurance athletes and a motivational speaker. The author truly believes that anyone can realize their potential through discipline, persistence, and mental toughness. He advises embracing discomfort and constantly finding ways to move forward. The book itself is structured in a way that every chapter consists of a challenge that David Goggins overcame and is proposing for the readers to take on those challenges. There are 11 chapters in the book, followed by pictures taken throughout the author's life, while the aforementioned challenges for the readers can be found at the end of each chapter. Introduction. In introduction, the author says that most people are living at about 40% of their true capabilities. He also points out that anybody can achieve the impossible, but it takes a lot of heart, will and mind. Chapter 1. I Should Have Been a Statistic. Chapter 1 describes the abuse, poverty, and difficulties that the author, David Goggins, went through during his childhood, after slaving away for his father and being beaten up as a child. He manages to leave for a new life with his mother. Leaving, however, created new problems. They had barely enough money to get by and David suffered from toxic stress, yet he kept fighting against all odds. Chapter 2, Truth Hurts. In Chapter 2, the author talks about growing up in Indiana as an African American and the daily discrimination and bullying he had to face. For some time, David gave up on himself and only cared what other people thought about him while trying to fit in and fight off all the racist people in his town. In the end, he realized the futility of his behavior and instead started taking accountability for himself and his future. Thanks to his resilience and great mental strength, he managed to jump from barely being able to read to passing the Air Force exam and getting accepted. The author suggests the readers put post-its with goals on a mirror and hold themselves accountable every time they look into that mirror. Chapter 3, The Impossible Task. In Chapter 3, the author suggests getting out of our comfort zone on a regular basis if we want to become stronger and turn our weaknesses into strengths. After quitting Air Force, David was stuck in his comfort zone again. Unhappy and overweight, all of which pained him greatly, he decided to join the Navy SEAL. And through sheer determination and constant exercising and studying, he managed to both lose 100 pounds and pass the entrance exam in a matter of weeks. He persisted in doing uncomfortable things and pushed through the pain, which ultimately yielded unbelievable results. Chapter 4. Taking Souls. Chapter 4 describes the Navy SEAL training and Hell Week. Designed to push people to their physical and mental limits, David realized the purpose of all the exhausting and tortuous tasks they went through early on. It was not about doing the impossible, it was about handling failure, not accepting defeat and refusing to quit. David says that no matter who you are dealing with, your goal is to make them watch you achieve what they could never have done themselves. In the end, this attitude helped him successfully go through Hell Week. Chapter 5, Armored Mind. Chapter 5 introduces a technique that the author calls calloused mind. It means trying the hardest when you want to quit the most, which in turn energizes a person and makes them more resilient. Even after breaking his knee and suffering multiple injuries, thanks to his calloused mind and unwavering persistence, David enrolled in his third Navy SEAL training and eventually graduated. As something that helped him in some of the hardest moments, the author suggests choosing an obstacle or a goal and visualizing overcoming or achieving it. Chapter 6, Get the Strategic Sequence Right. In Chapter 6, David recalls when he ran a marathon of 100 miles over 2 hours without any prior preparations. Early on in the marathon, he started having health issues and almost collapsed, but somehow he kept going. Towards the end of the race, while he could barely even walk, he tapped into his cookie jar of past victories. The author started remembering all of the things he was proud of, like becoming a part of the Navy SEAL. Each of these cookies gave him the energy and motivation to eventually finish the marathon successfully. Chapter 7, The Most Powerful Weapon. Chapter 7 looks back on many of the marathons the author partook in. And he managed to finish all of them. Nonetheless, he still was not completely satisfied with his success and kept asking himself, what am I capable of? He desired to rise to the level of those who placed better than him on marathons. David Goggins believes that most people quit at 40% of their capabilities. And what is preventing them from achieving more is their own minds. The only way to reach beyond that 40% is to stop listening to the voice in your mind telling you to quit. Chapter 8, Talent Not Required. In Chapter 8, the author decided to run the Ultraman World Championship, where he finished second. This garnered a lot of positive publicity for him, so the Army gave him the task of recruiting more African Americans for the SEALs. He started holding lectures at various universities to inspire young people to break out of their comfort zone and push their limits. For him to be able to do all of this, he needed to take control of his schedule, which he implores all of the book readers to do. Chapter 9, Uncommon Amongst Uncommon. Chapter 9 recalls various locations where the author was sent for training with his first platoon after graduating from the SEAL training. He also managed to graduate from the Army Ranger School, after which he joined his second platoon, this time as a leader. This experience taught him valuable lessons such as that the leader fights for his men and leads by example, stays exhausted, abhors ignorance, and never looks down on his underlings. What helped Goggins the most was that he always kept pushing forward. Since, as he says, if you want to become uncommon among uncommon, you have to stay great. Chapter 10. The Empowerment of Failure. In Chapter 10, David tries to break the Guinness World Record of most pull-ups in 24 hours, which was over 4,000 pull-ups, in the end. He managed to do it on the third try. During this time he often considered his past failures and analyzed them. To be able to turn your failures into successes, lay out all of your failures and consider things you did well and the things you should fix. And keep trying to implement those considerations until they work. Chapter 11. What if? Chapter 11 finishes of the book by recalling one of the author's hardest moments. He fell sick at 38 years of age, and as he explains, his body just gave up. This made him realize that he did not appreciate his victories nearly enough, and only kept pushing forward without ever finding peace. This sickness helped him overcome all his rage and acknowledge his effort, which ultimately helped him find peace. David recovered and retired from the SEALs, becoming a certified firefighter and EMT. Overall, Can't Hurt Me is the inspiring story of David Goggins, a former Navy SEAL and ultra-marathon runner who overcame a traumatic childhood, obesity, and prejudice to become one of the fittest, strongest, and most determined individuals in the world. Through his personal experiences and practical advice, Goggins shares his philosophy of mental toughness, perseverance, and self-discipline, which can help anyone overcome their limitations and achieve their goals. Key highlights of the book. 1. Embrace your vulnerability. Goggins did not have an easy childhood. He was abused by his father, neglected by his mother, and bullied by his peers. However, he did not let his past define him. Instead, he used his pain and trauma as a source of motivation and strength. He learned to face his fears, confront his weaknesses, and accept his vulnerability. He realized that his scars and flaws were not a liability, but an asset. They made him who he was, and he was proud of it. He encouraged others to do the same, and to use their challenges and setbacks to fuel their growth and resilience. 2. Set goals that scare you. Goggins did not settle for mediocrity, he always pushed himself to the limit and beyond. He set ambitious, audacious, and sometimes insane goals that forced him to confront his limitations and expand his potential. He ran hundreds of miles, climbed the highest peaks, and became a Navy SEAL. Despite his physical and mental obstacles, he believed that anyone could achieve greatness. But only if they had the courage, discipline, and vision to pursue their dreams with full commitment and passion. 3. Develop your mental toughness. Goggins believed that the key to success was not talent, luck, or genetics, but mental toughness. He defined mental toughness as the ability to embrace pain, discomfort, and adversity and to use them as a tool for growth and improvement. He trained his mind as well as his body by exposing himself to extreme conditions, such as cold, heat, hunger, and exhaustion, and by practicing meditation, visualization, and positive self-talk. He also used challenges and failures as opportunities to learn and grow, and to become more resilient, adaptable, and resourceful. 4. Hold yourself accountable. Goggins did not believe in excuses or blaming others. He took full responsibility for his actions and his results, and he held himself accountable to his highest standards. He did not tolerate laziness, procrastination, or self-pity. He demanded excellence, integrity, and hard work from himself, and he expected the same from others. He advised people to create a system of accountability, such as a journal, a schedule, or a mentor, to keep themselves on track and to measure their progress objectively. 5. Find your motivation. Goggins knew that motivation was not a constant state of mind, but a fluctuating emotion. He realized that he could not rely on external factors, such as rewards, fame, or validation, to sustain his drive and determination. He had to find his internal motivation, the reason why he wanted to achieve his goals and to become the best version of himself. He found his motivation in his brother, who died in a motorcycle accident, and in his desire to honor his memory and to make him proud. He advised people to find their own meaningful purpose, and to use it as a fuel for their passion and perseverance. 6. Never give up. Goggins' motto was stay hard, and he lived by it. He refused to give up. No matter how difficult or painful the situation was, he believed that the only way to fail was to quit. And he was determined never to quit. He faced many obstacles and setbacks in his life, but he used them as opportunities to learn and improve. He knew that success was not guaranteed, but he was willing to take the risk and to put in the work. Until he achieved his goals, he advised people to adopt the same attitude, and to never give up on their dreams, no matter how many times they fall, or how long it takes to succeed. Conclusion. Can't Hurt Me is a powerful self-help memoir that teaches readers how to master their minds and defy the odds. Through the example of David Goggins, readers learn how to overcome their obstacles, set ambitious goals, develop mental toughness, hold themselves accountable, find their motivation, and never give up. The book is full of practical advice, inspiring anecdotes, and personal insights that can help anyone become stronger, faster, and smarter. Whether you are an athlete, a student, an entrepreneur, or just someone who wants to improve their life, Can't Hurt Me is a must-read book that will change the way you look at yourself and the world.